Lacrosse, go.
Yeah.
How'd you like your intro, Tim?
So what did you
Tough
make of the
one.
game? Was John right who called in earlier in the show that
I think John, per usual for John, is maybe overreacting just a little bit. I don't think there's any reason to hit the panic button after losing to the number one team in the country. Was a little frustrating the way that the game happened, but look, this is a weird year in lacrosse where I feel like it's very wide open. Cornell, I think, has been kind of Syracuse's kryptonite a little bit recently. They've won 6 of the last 8 against the Orange. They've beaten Syracuse all 3 times that Gary Gate has faced them. Wyatt Nuss, their goalie, just has Syracuse's number. He actually has been used as a backup to come back for Cornell when they make a change in the second half in most games. This game he started, and he had 8 saves in the first quarter, and it just put Syracuse on their heels the entire game. I do think Syracuse, there's something to be said, they kind of struggle in the cold and rainy outdoor games compared to how their offense looks when it's humming and it's 75 and sunny inside the dome. But it's going to be 85 and sunny down in Durham this weekend. So hopefully that'll be better for them, and obviously just better for the crowd size and everything, too. It was still a good turnout, but yeah, just not really Syracuse's day the other day.
Or will it be too hot in Durham, Tim?
I know, yeah.
I know every game like this is a referendum on Joey Spallina. Every time Syracuse plays a top 5 team is a referendum on Joey. Just had a great game against Notre Dame. I think you could argue in many ways it was the best game of his career. And then he follows it up with basically a goose egg. How do you look at these two back-to-back for what he did to maybe the best on-ball defender in the country at Notre Dame and then what Cornell did to him?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. He scored 7 points on Cornell just last year.
Yeah.
I think it was 4 goals, 3 assists against the same cover guy that was guarding him yesterday, Jason Singer. Cornell's defense is nothing too crazy. Top 20 good, but their offense, as we saw on Saturday, is the best offense in the sport right now this year, led by the best player in the country, C.J. Kirst, who you go into that game, and Kirst is number 1 in the Tewaaraton odds, and Joey Spallina is number 2. Now, everyone knows that Kirst is going to win it this year. He's head and shoulders better than everyone else in the sport. But C.J. Kirst gives you 8 points, and Joey Spallina attempted just 3 shots. Now, it's not as easy as just breaking it down that way, like we always talk about with Spallina. This is a very balanced Syracuse offense, and a lot of times they are just attacking the short stick matchups and using their midfield and their deep midfield to kind of initiate, which was definitely the game plan against Cornell. And it worked a little bit. Luke Roa had 3 goals and kind of broke out of a shooting slump, although he took a lot of shots. Michael Leo had some nice moments for sure. And Owen Hiltz was the guy who was really the catalyst on the attack line. Outside of Hiltz on the attack line, though, it was a little disappointing to not get really anything from Peyton Anderson or Joey Spallina. Peyton, of course, is a freshman, and you can't really get too down on him because it's just his 3rd career start. But I thought early on in the game, he's just got a great ability to get inside, to dodge his man. He got inside on a couple inside rolls early in the game and just didn't finish. And then it just felt like they didn't really go back to him or Spallina a ton to dodge. And I just don't think it was really Joey's day, but also you can't really blame him too much because he only shot it 3 times. He just wasn't a big part of the offensive game plan.
Yeah, looking at the box here, Roa and Leo had 21 combined shots. It's basically half the total team shots.
And there's your short stick guy, or the guys that were seeing the short stick right there.
Right, and then, you look at the way the game went, and it just felt like Syracuse was attempting to come back the whole game, right? Like, oh, they're back within 2.
Yep.
And then back within 2. I don't know how many times that happened, but it felt like it was every other possession there for a while in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it was weird, too, because it was never like trading goals. It was when some team scored, they were going to rattle off 4 in a row, probably. And Cornell, of course, rattled off 6 in a row in the 2nd quarter, and they did have 2 different leads of 6 goals. They were up 8-2, then they were up 13-7. And, yeah, it just felt like Syracuse, I mean, they did not go away. They've dealt with some adversity early in games in their last 2 wins before this week, and I think they have been very resilient in game throughout the season. It was just this one, Cornell always kind of had that counter punch or that key goal once it was cut to 2. And probably the biggest moment of the game, Syracuse was on the man up with about 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Down by 3, I believe, at that point, but they were kind of trending and making a run back into the game, and they turned it over on the man up. So The turnovers, actually, Cornell had more turnovers than Syracuse, but again, it felt like just a couple sloppy turnovers at the wrong time, which could have been a little bit of the field conditions and everything, but everyone's playing on the same field between Cornell and Syracuse.
Yeah, I got wet and sloppy out there toward the end of that one. We look at this season here, Tim, and we know this. Gary plays just a insane schedule every year. They play everybody. The strength of the schedule is close to the top right now, and it's only going to tick up here in the next couple of weeks. That said, 9-3, Syracuse is not going to miss the tournament. But should they really avoid losing out here? Just so we're not actually asking that question in a month?
They still could miss the tournament because that's how lacrosse works. I think this game is definitely big because the way I see it right now, it's looking like there could be 4 ACC teams that make it this year, considering if there are no bid stealers. If you're a Syracuse fan right now, the biggest things you're rooting for so the bubble doesn't get muddied up is the Big Ten champion to be one of the top 3 teams from the Big Ten who is currently inside the NCAA tournament bracketology probably. So you don't want Michigan to go and win the Big Ten like they have in the past, or a Rutgers to go and win the Big Ten, or Hopkins, who unfortunately that looked like a good win at the time for Syracuse. Hopkins is just constantly losing games now, and they're going to need to win the Big Ten to have any chance of making the tournament. So you just hope that there's no bid stealing in the Big Ten. You hope that Army wins the Patriot League because they're borderline, could they get an at-large if they win out and lose to, say, Colgate in the Patriot League final? I think you also hope that the Ivy League goes to one of the top 3 teams because right now there's probably going to be 10 teams between Ivy, ACC, Big Ten, and you don't want any bid stealers to make that really 9 teams or really 8 teams. So Syracuse is still inside. But this is a big game against Duke. I mean, they probably do have to win. I would say definitely have to win one more game to feel good about it. And UNC at the end of the year at home is not going to be an easy game. So you want to stay ahead of Duke in the RPI this week and kind of stay inside the top 3 in the ACC to feel good about making the tournament.
Yeah, you look at their losses right now. It's to number 2 in the RPI, Maryland. Number 5, Cornell just moved up. And Harvard, which had been top 5 last week, is now 7. So you don't have a bad loss. But, and you won't get a bad loss from here on out. Duke's 10, Carolina's 4, and then, some combination of them or Notre Dame are all in the top 10. That's all you got left. You will not have a bad loss, but you should probably win a game.
Yeah, and I mean, the wins aren't unbelievable either at this point. It's been unfortunate. Like I said, Hopkins has fallen off. Virginia went on the road. I think everyone agrees that was a nice win considering how desperate Virginia was. But last I looked, they're hovering around top 20 RPI.
They're 20 right now. They're 5-7. It's just not a great win right now.
Yeah, so your best win is Notre Dame at home, which, I mean, that is a great win over the 2-time defending national champions. But even Towson at the start of the year was ranked. They're not helping you much.
Right now, I mean, Hopkins, who's 17th, is your second best win. Virginia, who's under 500, your third best win right now.
Yeah, so that's the hole in their resume kind of, but that's the beauty of you're going to play probably 3 straight top 10 RPI games the rest of the way.
I've got 2 questions from the chat.
All right.
Someone would like to know, what did you think of Rory's career slam?
Lovely. Who asked that
Tim
question?
is currently dressed like he's at the Masters.
I don't know.
All right. Well, it was
someone asked that question.
It was honestly the most heart-stopping sporting event I've ever watched yesterday. As a huge Rory McIlroy fan and all the heartbreaks he's been through, that was all-time stuff yesterday. And just the way that it happened was the most Rory final round ever.
Kevin from Liverpool. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm wearing the green today in honor of Rory. He got it done somehow.
I think I tweeted this out, Tim, after 13 when he dumped it in, what was that, Race Creek? Or
just an awful
I tweeted out, regardless of what happens from here on out, this is the most Rory tournament ever. And then 17 more things happen. I'm like, what is happening right now?
You just never know what's coming from him because he hit some of the best shots you'll ever see a guy on a major championship Sunday hit. And then he's 125 in the middle of the fairway on 18. And needs a par to win. Honestly, a pretty routine shot. There's a backstop there that you can use with the slope and everything, which we saw him use in the playoff from the same yardage. And Nance is already going through the family tree and putting the green jacket on him. And then he just dumps it in the bunker, which was inexcusable. So I was more worried about the tee shot on 18 because he wasn't in his driver good all day. Then once he was in the fairway, I was like, he's hit great iron shots. This is just an easy wedge. Just put it on the green and you've got the green jacket, but he had to make it interesting.
Tronic in our chat would like to know, Why did you refuse to tweet out pictures of birds last week in the bird bracket? And I'm going to add, are you responsible for the loss of
Where's
the
the
bird
bird bracket, Tim?
I can promise you I'm not responsible for losing the bracket because I know where it was. I was right in the mega desk out there, right to the left when I did right on the back of the bird bracket. That was a mistake, but I didn't ever discard of it. Although once Jordan told me this morning when I walked in that the bird bracket is gone, I was like, that would have been a good idea. I should have just done that.
But why do people want to know why you were insubordinate last week?
Yeah, look, it was Monday. A lot of things going on out there. I was listening to the show as much as I could, but I'm also working on cutting up the clips and stuff, and I must have it slipped my knowledge that you guys were talking about a poll, and I think I asked you at the start of the day. Anyway, yeah, that was on me.
Not
not getting the poll out.
Not your best work.
That could be our excuses bracket.
Good job, Jim.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Tim Leonard breaking down the bird bracket and the Masters and lacrosse. He's a jack of all trades.
I think he put the bird bracket in an azalea bush. That's what I think.
Probably just, I won't get into the trash pile that's right next to my parking spot right now. I might go sift through that, which is full of pill bottles and other medical needs. We will take a time out and come back, and we will do... I don't even know how this is possible, but we have a winner for the match game. We haven't played in months. We'll do the match game. We'll find out.
We lost the bird bracket, but we found the match game
winner. We'll find that out next on ESPN Radio Syracuse. You can go to RomanQSportsTalk.com.